Hi, we're back with the very first guest on the big show with Chris Meaux. And this gentleman here is a longtime friend of mine, a friend of the show as well. It's very important to point out. He was the camera girl, and I don't know why I call them girls. Just in the old days of television, when it was sexist, that's all women could do. So, just referring back to that. I don't know. But not only is he a great friend, but why is he the guest? Well, way back when, and it's kind of a sore issue among some viewers, we did a show years ago called The Big Show with Chris Meaux, and it was a two-person deal.
Oh, yeah.
And I remember that, and it was about as memorable as, I don't know, that just kind of fell over. I had nothing that's as unmemorable.
And that footage is gone.
That footage is, yeah.
However, the backdrop for that footage, the old Kmart on Ambassador Capri,
still there.
Is being demolished.
Oh, it was finally.
I saw that yesterday. Yeah, it looks like they're tearing it down. I don't know what's going to go up there.
I heard a Burlington coat factory.
No. Really? Wow.
I don't know. But but Roy is our first guest, not only because we have a history, but also because he is a very talented speaker, very talented author. He's authored 3 books, correct? And is also a counselor here in Lafayette, not just in Lafayette. I mean, his offices are here, but you don't have to be from Lafayette to go and get counseling from Roy. And I wanted to bring him in, and one of the purposes of the big show with Chris Meaux is we don't care about celebrities. Let's just be honest. I mean, who does really? I mean, they're just people that have some opportunities. We care about real people. Roy is an example of that. He is, never has he let any of his achievements get to his head. He is a bit of a celebrity locally here. I mean, I think a lot of people would that be accurate?
I'm still laughing at the let the stuff get to my head. Apparently, I haven't let my hair get to my head.
A lot of other things have gotten to his head, like space, not
hair.
So anyway, well, welcome to the show.
Thanks, man.
This is an honor to have you here for the first show.
Oh,
the first guest.
It's an honor. Seriously.
And
I love it. I love it. I posted it to my wall, and I love watching it. Mindy,
well, thank you.
I'll be in my recliner watching it, cracking myself up. Like, well, you're cracking me up, and I'm laughing. And she goes, "What are you doing?" I was like, "Go watch the big show."
Well, thank you. I'm glad, because
it's funny.
The 6 or 7 people that watch it told me the same thing.
Not true.
And so,
there's at least 16.
16. Well, I broke a
But look, 16 loyal viewers who will tune in each week.
That's
are
right.
Better than 36 people who don't watch it.
That's right. And maybe one day they'll pass it on to maybe 3 other people. And we'll get to 19. And I mean, that's just who else can say I have 19 people watching.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Well, thank you for that. I appreciate that. Those shows, I watch them or I make them too, because I'm in them.
Right.
Wow.
I watch my YouTube videos.
Do you watch yours too?
Every once in a while, someone will say, "Hey, I like that thing that you said on there," and I'm like, "Oh, what did I? Which piece of brilliance
exactly.
was it that you like?" And I'll go back and I'll rewatch it. Then my humility partner, my wife, often will go, "Are you watching that again? Your video?" Yeah, I am.
You say that like it's a bad thing.
Exactly. It's a bad thing.
Who else is going to watch it? No, you have a very large, I don't know, let's say viewership, but probably because, you have a large readership as a columnist, right?
Yeah.
And so those people are all keyed into your Twitter page, your Facebook page, and so you do have a big viewership, I would think, as well.
Yeah, I think so. I'm lucky, folks who hear me speak want to know about what my writing and stuff like that. So, and I'll plug my blog, and things along those lines. So yeah, but as you know, I've been doing it for a while. Mm-hmm. I didn't start yesterday. Thanks mainly to you and Mike Patan. I've been writing for 6-7 years now.
Yes.
And don't think that the writing piece of it would have ever gotten started. And they're all tied in. I would have done the counseling no matter what,
mm-hmm.
but the speaking and the writing, I always had a love for the speaking, but they've been so tied in together. And you were such an encouraging, instrumental piece in that.
Well, it was easy to be.
And it was in passing, and for viewers at home, or wherever the heck you're watching this. I don't know. You might be
toilet.
in the bathroom, your toilet. You might be in someone else's home on their toilet. I don't know, and we don't want to know, so don't comment.
This will never air.
This will never air. You said that to me in passing. We were in Ville Platte under Jim Miller's patio. And I said, hey, I think I want to write something. And you just instantly said, hey, you can do it. Why not do it? And blah, 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 blah. And he was like, yeah, why not? And either before that or after that, I had coffee with a friend of mine, Mike Patan. He kind of said the same thing. And you two guys, probably, I know I'm going to write a few more books. You've both been mentioned in both of the books so far. And you just never know what you say to somebody, how powerful that can be. Yeah,
that's right.
It really was. So,
Well, thank you. I mean, I saw that.
Not to get too heavy deep and real.
No,
we don't want to start crying here. We don't need tissue.
We'll be holding each other before the next break. But, it'll just be like that scene in Borat.
You're not going to go, I thought they were men, but I'm not really sure.
That definition's fluid. It could mean anything. No, I mean, we want to get to some, heavy stuff too. And, well, I should say heavy. I mean, real. But,
real.
What this guy, you and I both know, would call heavy, deep, and real.
Heavy, deep, and real.
Not that we don't know who that is, by the way.
Yeah,
He's believes that the internet is evil. He prefers FaceTime to Facebook. He'll never hear that zing, so I don't even know why I'm taking it.
He told you that?
Yeah.
He who must not be named.
He who shall go forth unnamed. Yeah. He was like, hey.
I prefer FaceTime.
He said it with a straight face, too. I was like, that's
FaceTime to
so
Facebook.
Yeah, he said,
could see it.
Well, FaceTime. I don't care for Facebook. I'm like, what?
Not even sure if this is going to make the air, but it would be good if
would.
it did. It would be funny.
Because
all 6 of your viewers would know who we're talking about.
That's right. I would think. And if you don't, just ask one of the other 6. 5, you'll figure it out.
Good times.
So let's start with the writing. Now,
okay.
You started writing, first of all, I know you and a lot of the people watching know you, but there's people that are going to watch this perhaps.
All 7 of us know each other well.
We know each other well. But I do reach, my students.
That's right. They don't know.
They make up my largest, I think, non-friend viewership. And there's even some people that, have been passing this along. What, where would you say, you were, how did you get into writing, and how did that lead, if at all, to what you're currently doing? Maybe speak to what it is you do now, those 3 areas. And there's more than that, the writing, the speaking, the counseling, but how did all that evolve? Did the writing kind of kick it off, or?
Yeah, that's a good question. I was campus minister at St. Thomas More High School in Lafayette, and I guess it was around that time, I had left seminary a couple years before. I had started grad school in counseling, for a whole bunch of different reasons, none of which are going to sound really romantic. Dan Jurek, who is my mentor and associate now, I worked with him at Paxton Knoll Center, was doing that, and I was like, he was a counselor, and so I was like, man, that looks really cool. He's awesome. And there was this aspect of being able to go deeper with folks one-on-one. In multiple sessions that was really attractive about therapy. I had been in therapy and still am, and I believe a lot of good counselors, most really good counselors either have done it or are still doing it. You have to know what the process feels like in order to do it well. So that was real attractive to me, and I had always kind of dabbled in writing, but most people don't know that. When I was in the seminary, I submitted probably 5 or 6 articles or columns to the Acadiana Catholic, even when I was in Rome, and they weren't really accepted, so to speak. Since then, several seminarians have gotten published.
Oh boy!
But I decided to try my hand at it again, and Tom Summers, the editor of the Acadiana Catholic, said, "Hey, this is a good idea. I've been wanting to do something like this." And started writing for adults about young people, which is kind of what my expertise was, and really still is in a lot of areas. So helping them understand what was going on in the lives of young people, and helping young people by doing that. I hope that makes sense.
Anyway.
So that kind of started, and I did those columns, and I self-published a book with those columns. But even before that, I co-authored a book on high school campus ministry. While my wife was pregnant, Mindy was pregnant for Max, who's now 6, I sat down and I wrote like almost 100 pages of what I knew about campus ministry, submitted it to St. Mary's Press, and they were like, man, this is really awesome, you know, but it'll never get published. However, we have an idea about a book, would you be interested? So that's kind of, so 3 other campus ministers from around the country and I got together on this book called The Practical Guide to High School Campus Ministry. It's still selling copies, which is great, not a lot, but it's still selling copies. And then about 5 years ago, 4 or 5 years ago, I was put in contact with an editor from St. Anthony Messenger Press, large Catholic publisher, Franciscan publisher in Cincinnati, Ohio. AmericanCatholic.org is their website. And I, on my own dime, thanks to Crossroads Bookstores' help, and an author named Lynn Doucette, they all kind of made this happen. But you know, my wife Mindy and I invested a few $1,000s for me to go to this book convention in Chicago just to have a 20-minute meeting with this editor, which is what paved the way for the book on marriage, which is what I wish someone had told me about the first 5 years of marriage. Because the bishops were just beginning to make this really big push on marriage and this marriage initiative, and yeah, and so just found out a few weeks ago that the book won a 2nd place Catholic Press Award in the Family Life Division, which is pretty awesome. Yeah. I was shocked. A guy from Baltimore emailed me and said, who does the Catholic Youth Ministry blog, which you're into, if you're into youth ministry or whatever, it's a good thing to read. So the book is proving to be helpful. And I've gotten a chance to go and do quite a few speaking engagements to folks who are training young couples.
And that's what you speak on a variety of topics.
You know, I do. I'm blessed. You know, I went to Raleigh, North Carolina, earlier in the year, and I was there for 6 days, and I probably spoke to 13 different groups or something like that. Did one on contemplative prayer, and you know, and talked to young people, talked to married couples, did a retreat with a priesthood I didn't even know, but it was awesome. And I'm blessed, you know, I mean, a lot of it comes from my own life experience. I don't do retreats, or I don't speak about rocket science, but in terms of ministry, you know, as a counselor, I've worked with a lot of different types of folks, and even as a campus minister, you not only work with the young people, but you work with their parents. You work, as you know, working in schools, you work with an eclectic group of folks who you learn a lot from. You know, you're not just helping, but you learn a lot from, and they help you. And but my marriage book is kind of based on my experience of really what I wish someone had told me, and how I wish someone had talked to me about it. Because as you know, and as a lot of couples know, at least the ones I've talked with, when you're preparing for marriage, a lot of the advice comes across as, you know, like Mindy and I would get stopped in Walmart, for instance, and it'd be like, oh, you're getting married. Oh, just wait. You're going to be as bitter as I am one day. And it comes across with this, I know everything. I am wise. I am old. I have been married for way too long, and I will spew forth all of my bitterness and wisdom into your ears because you know nothing, you're ignorant, and you haven't been married. So just shut up and listen. Right. And so at some point I was just like, over that. Yeah. And most couples too now.
They want marriage to be better than they've heard, certainly better than society seems to portray it, and maybe even better than their parents had it. And,
sure. And they want to hear the truth, but if I talk to, that's one of the huge problems that I have with our church, quote unquote, and which I love, but and adults in general. We do that when talking not only to young adults, but to young people too. And it's not the content, it's the context. It's how we're saying it. Right. And if I go up to anyone, and even my clients, if I talk to my clients in a condescending or patronizing tone, they're going to go, and never show up again. Right. Because it's disrespectful. But we do it all the time because we care more about being right sometimes than we do about being effective.
Absolutely.
And that's why I wrote the book. I wanted to say it in a way and show stories from my own life that are real humorous, like you know, my mother-in-law seeing me, you know, buck naked in the backyard. But that's that's chapter 8 of the book. It's a funny story, though. You heard it.
And I'm still taking medication. But we're gonna pause and we'll come back and talk about you, not just everything that you do, but the real Roy